Hello, am I audible? Yeah, can someone tell me?
Yes,
Yes, madam. Okay, madam.
Okay, okay,
Yes,
thanks.
madam.
Sir, my voice is audible, sir.
yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Audible, sir. Audible, sir. Ramji, sir. Audible.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Am I audible? So,
Yes, ma'am.
can someone?
Yes.
Okay. So we shall begin the program in 5 minutes.
Good morning, Dr. Mudula Madam. This is Dr. Ramakrishna Raju, Dean Academics.
Good morning, Dr. Ramakrishna Garu.
Thank you, Madam. Unmute, Ranadir.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, madam. This is Dr. Anadi Reddy, Head of the Department of Science.
Good morning, Dr. Ranveer. Nice meeting you all. Happy to be here at St. Martin's Engineering College. Thank you for the invite. Thank you, Madhavi. Good morning.
Okay, ma'am. That's okay, ma'am. That's okay. So we shall begin, ma'am. In 2 minutes, we are going to begin the session.
Madhavi madam, let us start.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, start.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, good morning, one and all. Okay, I'm Madhavi Lata, Assistant Professor of English in the Department of Science and Humanities. On behalf of St. Martin's Engineering College, I'm honored to declare open the two-day virtual multidisciplinary academic workshop on future-ready learning and new challenges in education 2022. So before we begin the workshop, I heartily welcome our Honorable Dean, Academics Professor Dr. S.V.S. Ramakrishnan Raju Garu, our distinguished chief guest and resource person for today, Dr. Mridula Lakkaraju Garu, convener of the workshop and head Science and Humanities, Dr. Ranadir Reddy Garu, faculty members, and my dear participants. I wanted to convey my gratitude to our Honorable Chief Guest, Dr. Mridula Lakkaraju Garu, for accepting the invitation and presiding over this two-day virtual multidisciplinary academic workshop on future-ready learning and new challenges in education 2022. St. Martin's Engineering College has achieved grade A from NAC, UGC Paramarsh Mentor, NBA accredited, ISO certified, and has DSIR recognition. It's a remote center of IIT Bombay, member of CII and MSME certification. 30 plus works, 6,228 plus research papers, and 98 plus patents published by staff and students contribute to the remarkable achievement of SMEC. This institution has signed more than 88 MUS with major companies and institutions. It is certified as AA plus by Careers 360, ranked 3 out of 20 by Competition Success Review, ranked 13 Best Engineering Colleges of India by Career Connect, and ranked 8th by Wikipedia in Telangana. I take pride to share with you that the college has received 4 times to its credit the glorious Governor General Award. Besides this, the college has received the Engineering Educators Award 2019, NIRDPR Award from Government of India, IDF Best Partner Award, Devang Mehta Award, TCS ION Award, CSI Award from Students Chapter, Best Innovation by Federation of Gujarat Industries, and Street Course Most Dedicated Division. National Leadership Excellence Award 2019 by ICCI, which is really incredible. It is declared as the best sports college by STUMUX, Telangana. Recently, St. Martin's got placed in NIRF ranking and also Atal ranking from AICTE. The Department of Science and Humanities plays a significant role to lay a strong foundation to the major engineering courses like ECE, CSE, IT, Mechanical, CSE, AIML, EEE, and Civil Engineering. All the disciplines in the department maintain individual identity. The department comprises of highly qualified, experienced, and goal-oriented faculty members with specialization in various fields. Besides outcome-based education, the department inculcates value-based education, developing the moral behavior among students, utilizing the human resources, and coordinating academic responsibilities are the exclusive potentials of the department. To add to its credit, S&H department has published 120 papers in various national and international conferences, journals. Apart from this, the department regularly organizes workshops, symposia, and conferences in new emerging areas for the benefit of students, researchers, faculty members, and industrialists. Now, the aim of this workshop is to enrich the knowledge of the participants through interaction with eminent personalities from academics and industries, It further throws light on career planning, which is extremely crucial process in the life of students. In the contemporary society, graduates are confused and disillusioned because they lack knowledge of career counseling. This workshop aims to guide students to be selective in their approaches in their career, which, if ignored, can be a challenging experience. The workshop also intends to orient learners with a sound knowledge about the importance of pronunciation in English and the pronunciation errors which contribute to a high risk of communication failure. This workshop also intends to give a step-by-step guidance to all the participants in future-ready learning, which expands the horizon of available teaching and learning tools using multiple intelligent students and teachers will get exposure to understanding and implementing the diverse perspectives of collaborating learning, leading the participants to realize the significance of intelligibility. Finally, the workshop proves to be an eye-opening session for all the learners who aim at imparting the skills required to handle different tools and technologies that are useful during the entire process of teaching, learning, research, and scholarly communication. Considering these aspects, which are the need of the hour, the department conducts a two-day multidisciplinary academic workshop on future-ready learning and new challenges in education 2022. Now, I'm very much pleased to invite the convener of the workshop and head Humanities and Sciences, Dr. Ranadhir Reddy Garu, to deliver his speech regarding this workshop. I welcome you, sir.
So thank you, Madhavi. Good morning, everyone. This is Dr. Ranadhir Reddy, head of the Department of Science and Humanities, St. Martin's Engineering College, and convener of this two-day workshop. I heartily welcome our chairman, Mari Lakshman Reddy Garu, Executive Director, Sri G. Chandrasekhar Yadav Garu, and respected beloved principal, sir, Santosh Kumar Patra, sir, and Dr. SVS Ramakrishnam Raju Garu, Dean Academics, and today's chief guest, so Dr. Mrudula Madam. Good morning, Madam, and Assistant Professor of Department of English from Osmania University, Hyderabad. Resource persons of this workshop, deans, HODs, colleagues, and participants. The Madhavi is already informed about the college. It is an autonomous institution with NAAC A+ grade accreditation and all departments of NBA accreditation. So coming to the S&S department, we are conducted successfully so many events. So 2 international conferences for last 2 years. Now we are going to conduct one more international conference in the month of September. So for the last 2 years, we are conducted 9 events successfully. Now this is the 10th event. So for this two-day workshop, I congratulate all the registered participants and convey my best wishes for showing your interest. And we have received more than 250 registrations with a short span of time. I express my heartfelt gratitude to the management and my principal, sir, for inspiring to conduct these type of workshops and supporting us. And I appreciate my departmental faculty members for their teamwork and commitment. So the main objective of this workshop is to enhance appropriate communication skill set of the aspirants and educate them about the research studies and proceedings. The motto of the event to introduce learner-centric teaching practices. Finally, I will end with some quote: to earn a responsible and well-settled life, learn now, later, and forever. Happy learning, and thank you very much for giving this opportunity. Thank you, Mrudula Madam, for giving your time for spending with us. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your encouraging words and arousing a stimulating environment among us. Now, I take privilege to invite our Dean, Dr. SVS Ramakrishnam Raju Garu, Professor in the Department of Electronics, Communication and Engineering, to share his illuminating ideas. Dr. SVS Ramakrishnam Raju Garu has 32 years of experience in teaching and 3 years of industrial experience. To add to his credit, he has patents and books published. He also presented papers to international and national conferences and has 25 plus certification courses and also participated in various workshops. Sir, I'm very much delighted to invite you to give the inaugural speech. Thank you, sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Madhavi Lata Madam.
That's okay, sir.
I am Dr. SVS Ramakrishnam Raju, Professor of ECE, Dean Academics. I take privilege to greet the eminent personalities, our beloved chairman, Sri Mari Lakshman Reddy Garu, respected executive director, Sri Chandrasekhar Yadav Garu, and our young and dynamic principal, Dr. Santosh Kumar Patra Garu, and today's chief guest, a Nobel personality from Osmani University, Dr. Mrudula Lakkaraju Garu, and today's this workshop convener and head of the H&S department, Dr. Ranadhir Reddy Garu, and all the faculty and my dear colleagues, HODs, deans, and all participants. Good morning to all. I welcome you all for this today's workshop on behalf of St. Martin Engineering College. And here the title chosen by the department is really appreciable. It is future readiness learning. It is always be required for the today's either faculty or students who should be there. And many challenges are there in education, and all we must upgrade towards emerging technologies. Moreover, science and humanities department is being a first year department. They are offering many programs, foundation programs, and I request take the inputs from the madam from this workshop, and in future next year itself we are going to become the full autonomous college. So we should focus on many foundation courses at first year level on emerging technologies connecting, because almost all we are moving towards emerging technologies. So we should upgrade. So I thank all the convener and his team to bring such a relevant topic. It is very useful, and definitely it is motivate, and it will inspire the faculty and students towards to the emerging technologies related future requirements. So I appreciate Dr. Ranadhir Reddy and his team for their efforts to bring this program into this stream, and I appreciate the participating from all over Telangana and all over even national level students also there. So I definitely this program will ignite you towards the emerging technologies and emerging future requirements. And I request all the participants to use this opportunity to learn and
ఇప్పుడు అది ఏం చెప్తుంది తెలుసా దీని వాడు మేము ఇప్పుడు ఆపరేషన్ తీసుకోవాలండి.
Somebody is interfering, sorry. Yeah, I advise to all the participants utilize this opportunity, the inputs giving by very eminent personality, Dr. Mrudula, and plan for the future. So very relevant and very emerging technologies related topic they brought. So this is the opportunity giving by the S&H department for these 2 days, and I once again I appreciate all entire team to bring this into the stream. Thank you one and all. Over to you, Madhavilata madam.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for your words of wisdom. It will truly enlighten us and constantly motivate us to accomplish our goals, our students mainly. Once again, and thank you very much, sir. Now, we are extremely honored with the gracious presence of the Honorable Chief Guest and Resource Person for today, Dr. Mrudula Lakkaraju Garu, Assistant Professor, Department of English, University PG College, Usmania University, who humbly accepted our invitation and made herself available for us to dispense knowledge and shed ignorance among us. Thank you very much, ma'am. Dr. Mrudula Lakkaraju is trained from FLU and a doctorate from Usmania University. She has presented nearly 60 academic articles to international and national conferences, journals, and magazines. Casual and creative writing is also her forte. She is the chief editor of International Journal of English, Literature, Language, and Skills with ISSN 22780742. She has been associated with this journal for the last 10 years and has brought out 49 issues to date. She recently published her book, Perspectives on Literature and Film, a compilation of 14 research articles in September 2020. She was awarded the best paper at ICOAH 2018 and 19 conferences held at Colombo, Sri Lanka, and Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Her areas of interest are post-colonial literature, gender studies, film studies, English language teaching, contemporary literature, and communication skills. She analyzes film and other media at her Facebook page at The Visual Critic. It is indeed a privilege and pleasure to welcome you, ma'am, on behalf of St. Martin's Engineering College. Now, I would like to invite our distinguished chief guest, Dr. Mrudula Lakkaraju Garu, to deliver her speech. So over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the kind words, for the warm welcome extended by St. Martin's Engineering College.
Yes, ma'am, pleasure, ma'am.
I have had a long tenure in teaching engineering engineering colleges for 16 long years. So it brings back fond memories of the role SNH plays in the overall design of engineering course. And I myself had spearheaded I think it's Dr. Ramakrishna sir who said we have to plan lots of foundational courses. And I would like to offer you a suggestion that I was spearheading a program called Center for Advancement of Career in Human Excellence, parallel course along with the regular engineering course over the tenure of 4 years. Something like that, which is designed by SNH, can also be planned, which will help the student through every stage so that by the time in 3-2 placements come, you haven't forgotten the knowledge in the first year. You have an opportunity to come back and refresh your memory by the time you come to placements. This is a suggestion that I would offer. It had proved to be extremely successful, a kind of a parallel program through the engineering course. Yes, thank you for inviting me to be the chief guest. And let me do my duty. So this is the plan for today, my 1-hour lecture. I would like to first talk to you about the overview of the theme that you have chosen for your workshop, future readiness. Let me just comment on that briefly for around 10 minutes. Then I'll take you through certain ideas that I hold for when it comes to gaining a certain level of proficiency in English and how do you improve your pronunciation, intelligibility, etc. Then we move on to towards the end. I would like to spend some time in taking your queries if you have any. I'm told that this group is a combination of both students and teachers. So I've designed my content to reach out to both teachers and students. So in case there are any queries that you find alongside, please leave them in the chat box and I would like to address them towards the end of my presentation.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, ma'am.
Now, give me just a second so that I can share my presentation and then I can start my speech. Okay, I need a little confirmation from maybe Madhavi should fill in.
Yes,
can the audience see me and the presentation simultaneously?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Both are same. Both are same.
Great. Thank you. Welcome to this module for today. Here are some issues that we need to address, both as teachers and students, because the pandemic has thrown at us a situation that we are now merely grappling. We haven't yet understood the implications of this, and we haven't yet found the problems, leave alone the solutions. It's a very pivotal time in the field of education. It's a challenge for both the teachers and the students alike. There is a certain ideology for setting up the model of a classroom and a teacher in a classroom. There is a reason why it's there. And we haven't yet understood, if that classroom model doesn't exist, how does the education or the knowledge that we want to impart to the students, how does it function without the classroom? That's one of the biggest challenges. It's forcing the teachers to be resourceful. It's forcing the students to rewire their priorities and approach education. So there are many changes, and this is the time when we have to look for solutions, look for problems, and try to find solutions. The onus is on both the teachers and the students alike again. The things that we took comfort in, the fact that the teacher holds the power in the classroom. The moment you enter, the students stand up and say good morning. It reiterates and reinforces the power to the teacher. In spite of us talking about learner-centered approaches, in most of our education systems across India, we still have the traditional classroom where the teacher holds the power. Now, the pandemic has crumbled those structures. In a classroom, you could reach out to the students. You can, pull somebody up in case they're not listening, or try to change your method if you feel that you're not reaching out to a certain section of students. That kind of validation, that kind of credibility, that kind of reach to the students is lost with the new structures that have emerged, which we have to rewire ourselves. We have to think about how is it that we can still make our knowledge, ensure that the knowledge reaches across to the students, and ensure that the students also are responding to this communication that goes on online. There is an increased reliance on technology. You have so many platforms, but then how effective is it? We have to stand back, take a stock of things, have some sort of a survey, a very realistic appraisal to understand, yes, we are conducting a class on Google Meet, or we are conducting a class on any other media, but then how effective is it is something that we have to seriously, sincerely take stock of. This is both for the teachers and the students. Now, since the traditional models of teachings are lost, we don't have the teacher-centered, that one-on-one contact. Though we have come back offline, there are still many modes of knowledge imparting that's happening relying on technology. So we as teachers have to develop both the students have to develop a blended learning modes, the teachers have to develop blended teaching modes, and no one method will apply to all the students. There is no one, single medicine for every malady kind of an approach. So teachers have to be constantly pulling themselves up and trying out different methods, trial and error, and choosing whatever suits one particular classroom. Let me take a moment there to talk about how each classroom, please do not treat each classroom as a single entity, as a common entity, as a homogeneous entity. Each classroom is made up of a unique set of students, and each class has to be built to cater to this unique set of students. So the increased accepted mode of teaching are the eclectic methods. Now, I would not hesitate to announce this on a platform like this, which has a combination of both teachers and students. Most of the information that we are presenting the students, there are so many other sources also that is presenting to the student. Information is at their fingertips. Because of the pandemic, there are so many other modes of knowledge imparting that have come into the market. Some are free platforms, some are nominally paid platforms, and the student has lot of information at his fingertips. So does that diminish the student, the role of the teacher? So how does the teacher posit himself or herself in a classroom where maybe a decade back they didn't have this access, but now you have a smart set of students who can check the pronunciation of a word or check the meaning of a word or check a reference that you have made in your class immediately using their smartphone. So how do you put yourself, so my advice to the teachers is this generation is not yet have not yet understood the role of books. Book reading has taken a backseat with this generation. And that's where I think the teacher comes in. Teacher has access to books, and the teacher should be able to comprehensively tie together the knowledge that is in books, not just on the website. So there's a new definition for the teacher, and there is a new mold for the teacher role in today's classroom. Now, I've come from a private organization. I've come into the government organization. I've seen both the worlds. I've seen that private organizations pull themselves up, push their employees to keep up with what's the latest in the world. On the other hand, the government, sadly, the truth in the government sectors is there is a kind of laid back attitude, but then I believe the government sector and the private sector complement each other. The government sector on one hand gives a kind of a stability, a kind of recognition, a kind of a defined role to the teacher, whereas the private field always have are keeping up with the market trends, if I may use that word, in the academic context. But one thing that applies to teachers in both government sector and private sector is how does one constantly check and update the quality of teaching, right? So your research papers, your conferences, your seminars, workshops is all that goes into the quality. How do you improve? And then how accountable are you held for the knowledge that you're imparting? So you just take a class, you're there in the classroom, you are there for that 45 minutes or to 1 hour, but then what is the actual substance that is brought to the classroom is something that we all have to check for ourselves. Ensure that we improve on quality, and we also check that we are accountable for the information that we are imparting to the students. There is one another area that we all have to improve. We think that teaching and research are two different fields. You teach a syllabus, but then you go ahead and research on whatever interests you, and they're considered as two different fields. I think it's time we merge them together. Your research should talk about the issues that arise in a classroom, in the teaching learning context, in the syllabus design, in the examination process. Your research material should be that, and your research should again come back to the classroom. You should be able to apply your research back to the classroom. It should be a kind of a seamless flow. Research and teaching not as two different spheres, but as one cohesive cycle. If we can do that, the quality of teaching too improves. Now, in one of the earlier mentioned concepts of learner-centeredness, I think that's the future. You have to put the learner in the center of the learn, and the teacher has to play the role of a facilitator alone, because you're teaching the young adult students, Do not assume they do not know anything. They're quite smart. They're quite knowledgeable. So how do we play on their knowledge? How do you elicit the most of your imparting knowledge from the knowledge that is already there in your students is something that we have to think about. Now, one of the major flaws in our education system is we don't teach our students critical thinking. We are brought up, we come from education systems that encourage rote learning and exam focused kind of an approach. And we force our students into taking up the same approach. In the way we set the question papers, in the way we evaluate question papers, a traditional answer is given highest mark. Somebody who is trying a new thing is struck down. So critical thinking should be the focus of both teaching, learning, testing, and evaluation processes. Now, this is just a kind of a plan that we all need to revisit, refresh. This is not something new that I'm presenting to you. This is what teachers already experience and have realized. But this is a kind of a reminder, collective reminder, so that we can make some changes, appropriate changes in our classroom. Multiple intelligences is a very pet topic for me. I believe that a classroom is made up of students of different intelligences, and a class should be designed to reach out to these varied students with different strengths, different intelligences. Right? We know the 9 kinds of intelligences put forward by the Harvard professor Howard Green, and this is a well celebrated theory, but we haven't yet brought to the classroom. I think this is time. And I've seen through your itinerary, one of the resource persons is taking up multiple intelligences, and I applaud the effort, and it's time we talk about it and implement it. Many of our courses lie stagnant for many years. We don't make an effort in spite of the university rules or the some rules by updating of syllabuses and all. Yet there are some of the courses which are left untouched. There is a need for all of us to look at our courses, look at our syllabi, and try to upgrade them so that students don't go out into a competitive field with the knowledge that is served in terms of the timeline, which is 10 years old knowledge. We have to continuously upgrade them. So this is the kind of overview that I thought will sit well with your themes that you have chosen for this workshop. Looking back, future-led learning and new challenges. These are some of the things that both students and teachers face, and this is what we have to continuously, consistently work on. Now, let me come down to the allotted topic, English pronunciation and significance. Before I move to the actual pronunciation, there is certain things that we have to remind ourselves. That there is sometimes unnatural, unnecessary focus on, the proficiency of English. I believe that we all have to take a few steps back and look at why are we so tied up with this concept of language, of English, and why is there a need for us to? So let us just go through the basic idea so that we can realign our fears, our apprehensions, our anxieties to understand where do we stand in terms of English language. Now, language, it's a medium to express thought, and that's it. Right? It's a tool, it's a vehicle through which your thoughts are expressed. It doesn't define you as a person. It's only a medium that you use. So what is more important? Till a decade back, when Wren and Martin book was the kind of a Bible for education system, grammar, which was so important, the structures of language, the spelling, everything is so important. Those all have taken a back seat. from the onset of MNCs in India, and when the globalization happened in India, the software boom, communication skills took on the driver's position. Now, when it comes to communication skills, I think the structure takes a backseat, the grammar takes a backseat. What's more important is how well you can express your thought. The thought is more important than the language. How do you speak? Do you speak to express or do you speak to impress? Do you use an accent? You use an American accent? You use very high sounding words? Right? Most of the urban students I find have this affinity of easily going for the accent or for the high sounding words, the slang. Always remember, you are making an impression. Your conversations make an impression. Every time you speak, you make an impression, right? So putting that aside, you as a speaker have to focus on how well can I express this thought, right? What is it in my mind? And how can I use language to express my thought? This is onus on the speaker. How well do I express? So impressions are there always. But then what's focus of communication? What's the focus of languages? How well do you attempt to express? Now I'm invited here because there is a certain amount of knowledge that I thought that my position gives. And with that wisdom, that knowledge, let me also emphasize that not all of us, none of us can master this language. We only can work in progress. Yes, we are making mistakes, we are correcting them, we are learning, we are progressing. So not a single one of us is somebody who is a master of the language. Right? We are all works in progress. There is a certain discomfort English brings to us. We feel a lot of comfort speaking in our mother tongue. But then there is a little discomfort when it comes to English. It throws us off guard. And it's absolutely normal, the discomfort that you feel when you speak English. It is because English is not culturally rooted. For example, our mother tongues are culturally rooted. They have so many cultural references which make us feel comfortable. There is a kind of a pleasure in a child calling Amma and Nana rather than mom and dad. There's nothing wrong. I'm not asking you to choose one over the other. I'm trying to analyze the discomfort of the language. There is a certain cultural rootedness with our mother tongue, hence it feels more comfortable, and English feels a little uncomfortable. Now, why is English so popular? Why is not German so popular, or Spanish so popular, or Japanese so popular? Why isn't Hindi so popular? English has this unique feature of welcoming words from other languages. During colonization, when Britain took over half of the world as its colony, and the British colonialism was always about the hybrid governance. They would work with the local authorities and they would come up with the hybrid governance. And in this effort of working with the local, many of the words were invited into English, and hence it developed this power to welcome new words. So you must be hearing news items that, the dictionary is being updated. New words are being added to the dictionary. Very recently, there is this Indian word, ayo, which we use as an exclamation mark, is added to the dictionary. So it has this ability to bring in new words. Hence, it's more popular. So you have an Indian English, you have a Nigerian English, you have a Malaysian English, you have different Englishes. It has that ability. Can I do without English? Yes, there are many countries where you don't need English to work, to study. But then you also have to, if suppose you wish to study in Japan, you have to learn Japanese. If you wish to study in Korea, you have to learn Korean. There is this requirement. But then there are many places, if you really don't like speaking in English, there are many places which don't use English. So the option is there. But then we also know that it's an established global language. There are many countries who are opting for English because it's easier to communicate internationally across globally. Definitely, it's not the mother tongue, so there is a little sense of discomfort, a kind of a revisiting. English has the positive connotations and the negative denotations. Positive connotations is how it is adaptable and how it is reaching out to different language-speaking populaces. The denotative still has that kind of a colonial hangover. There are still some oppressive structures in place. For example, when somebody says, please be fair, or don't have these dark intentions, it's very racial in its design. So there are certain issues with English. It has major language influences. It has this capacity to take on different languages. There are two prevalent variants, American and British variant. But then because we are a British colony, we still have ended up with the British variant of English. American variant is not something that we use. So if you have to work in a call center or, you are trained in American accent and American use of words, it's a different training that takes place. Now, when it comes to an accent, we Indians, we do not have any accent. We speak English with a kind of a neutral accent. Is that a strength? Is that a weakness? I believe it's a strength because we become more comprehensible when you speak in neutral accent. And we are the most preferred English teachers all over the world, wherever teachers. Yes, the native speakers are the first choice. The second choice are Indian teachers who have, because of the neutral accent that we have. This is, again, one of the biggest challenges because it has taken on words from so many different languages. There is the word spelt, is the spelling of a word can be French, but the pronunciation is completely different. There is always this spelling pronunciation gap in English. So we have, if PUT is put, YCUT cut, yeah, same spelling, two different pronunciations. What is the role of P in psychology? Why do we even have a P in psychology? Some of these questions that we often asked as children indicate that there is a huge spelling pronunciation gap. None of us have the perfect pronunciation. Each one of us have to go to the pronunciation dictionary to check some of the words that we encounter every day. So it's a normal learning process. It's not something it undermines your talent or your knowledge of English. And it has one of the most difficult grammar rules, right? Now when we look at the sounds of English, there are many sounds which are similar to our mother tongue. There are some unique sounds that we don't find it in our mother tongue. So if we can focus on those sounds which are new, I think we have somehow will have spoken English a little better. The sounds, let me just quickly read it out with an example, maybe, to help you understand that how this is not part of. Now, because I'm situated in Telangana, I'm thinking that the majority of my students are Telugu speaking students. Maybe we have many other Indian languages. So you will agree with me when I say A is a language, is a sound that we don't find it in our mother tongue. A as in bank. Because we don't have an A, the usual mode or a mother tongue speaking individual uses is, instead of an A, people put a ya. So a bank ends up as a byank. A pant ends up as a pyant. Right? So A is a new sound. Now, instead of laughing it off or making a joke of it, let's rationally approach English and see what are the unique sounds and how do we master them. Now, Madhavi, do you have something to say to me?
Yes, ma'am. The PPT, the slide, only first slide is visible. So you just wanted to go for the second slide? Yeah, we can see only the first slide, ma'am.
Even now?
Now the slide is changed, ma'am.
Okay, so you couldn't
Yes.
see all these slides. So
yeah,
let me just
ma'am.
quickly.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm really sorry about this. So
No issue.
For the benefit of those who were listening, this was supposed to be my overview of my talk, the major issues that I discussed. Then I moved to my presentation where I talked about how language is just a medium of expression. The thought is more important. The language takes a backseat. The impressions don't count. The expression counts. We are all works in progress. We are not, we haven't yet perfected the knowledge. The discomfort of English, how it's not culturally rooted, and our mother tongues which are culturally rooted, which feels more comfortable. There is this particular writer from, I think it's Nigeria, who says English is the head and my mother tongue is my heart. Right? The difference between the head and the heart. Can I do without English? One of my points that I've talked about. Yes, there are many countries which do not have English. Hope my slides are changing, Madhavi.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay, great. So I'll go like this. I'll not maybe put the whole screen. So I now come to, this is where I am right now. I'm talking about the unique speech sounds that are unique to English, but we don't find them in our mother tongue. The first one, if you can see my cursor, I'm looking at this particular sound, which is a, as in bank. So if you have muted yourself, you can maybe, practice it on your own, within your own safe space. The first one, to pronounce that, I need to open my mouth wide and say a. The second sound is o. For that, I have to round my mouth. There is no other way I can do that. O, as in lot, slot. The third sound is a unique sound, which is the weakest sound. You will find it in words like America. Right? The first sound that you find in America is the weakest sound. I don't have to put in a lot of stress there. It just comes out as a breath of small gust of air. The fourth sound that you see on the screen is O. The two dots indicate that it's a long vowel. And in words, and you still have to pronounce it with a rounded mouth, O. And in examples like slaughter, you have this O. The next sound is the example that you have is H-U-R-T, hurt. It's a long, and you have to close your teeth and pronounce it. These are all unique sounds, unique single sounds. There are some unique double sounds in English. You have an A. You don't have an A in our mother tongue. Play. Oi. The next one, as in ploy. Ear, as in hear. That's a double sound. Air, as in hair. Poor, as in poor. O, as in go. These are all double sounds. These are all single sounds. So you have around 5 single sounds and 6 double sounds, which are unique. You don't have it in our mother tongue, and this is where you have to focus if you want to improve your pronunciation. Now, the consonant sounds, which are a little unique, are V and W. So you, a foreign learner might not see the difference between them, but V is the labiodental. Your teeth comes in contact with your lip when you have to pronounce the first V. The second one is with a rounded mouth V. Right? I'll give you some more examples a little while later. Those are 2 unique, oftenly confused sounds. Then Z, you will find Z in Urdu. Right? Z is a very common, but then in Telugu, we don't have Z. So bazaar often ends up as a bajar. That's the kind of thing. The next sound is zh. Zh, leisure, treasure, measure. We don't have it. And that's where one of the difficulty lies. The last sound, as in S-I-N-G, we don't, the actual pronunciation is not sing, it's sing. The g is not clearly pronounced, and the na, it comes through your nose. So it's a very nasalized kind of a sound. Right? So that's one area of challenge that many of us find, that we usually trip at these pronunciation of these sounds. The other major challenging area are the consonant clusters. We don't have many consonant clusters. There are some unique consonant clusters that, what is a consonant cluster? 2 or 3 bunched consonant sounds is called a consonant cluster, and they are a major challenge for the foreign learners. We find it really difficult. So if you can see the screen, you will find I've given some examples. This is an image that I've taken from the internet. Let me just zoom in a little. 2 consonants at the beginning of the word. FRL, as in flay. 3 consonants at the beginning of the word, as in spry, serp and r together, spry. These are called word final clusters. Sometimes you will find 2 or 3 consonants immediately one after the other at the end of the word. 2 consonants as in ask, 3 consonants as in asks, and 4 consonants as in angst. Okay? So this again becomes a major challenge for us. Let me just discuss that in a little detail. Now, since I can do this, I will just ask you to focus on this, the ones in red. Right? You will find that perla, pera, tera, you will find the kind of consonant clusters. In words like, you can find the consonant clusters. VIEW, the consonant cluster is V and Y. Mutate, M and Y. New, N and Y. These are all consonant clusters. For the foreign learner, in many of our mother tongues, we don't have very definite consonant clusters, and we have a tendency of adding a vowel there. Okay, let me bear with me. I'm going to give you some more examples. Look at these examples that maybe I'll use a different color. This is for the Urdu speaker. Many of these consonant clusters are a major challenge, and that's where you insert a vowel sound. For example, school becomes school. You add a vowel sound in between those consonant clusters. So consonant clusters are always a challenge for the foreign learner. Look at this set of consonant clusters that are displayed in these words. Maybe I'll use another color. Yeah, 3 consonant clusters: serpula, splash, spring, strong, stupid. So this is again one major challenge for a foreign learner. These are word initial clusters, the clusters that can be found at the beginning of the word. These are word final clusters. Again, I'm using some color here. You can find set of clusters towards the end. So if you have to focus on your pronunciation, I think one another thing that we need to focus on is how these consonants are clustered. Are they word initial clusters? Are they word final clusters? Is that a 2 consonant clusters or 3 consonant clusters, which will help you improve your pronunciation? I'll move on to, there are some consonant clusters in the middle of the word, not towards the, not word initially, not word finally, but in the word median. Right? Forget on these on the left. Look at the examples on the right of your screen. Camp, bend, stamp, length, warmth. You will find that there is no gap between m and th and g and th. Right? So just focus on that. This will help you with your pronunciation. Like consonants, interestingly, vowels also have some sequences or clusters. We have a bunch of vowels in one place, which we also have to focus. In words like buyer, look at this highlighted part, buyer. What you have is an I, one vowel, and an buyer. There is no consonant there. It's three vowel sounds, one after the other. Flyer, quiet, iron, higher, tire. The r is not pronounced. What you have are actually consonant sounds. So spelling can't be your, strategy for pronunciation. You should learn that in English, there is a huge gap between the spelling and the pronunciation. The second set of words, these, I know I have another 15 minutes and I'm trying to quickly finish so that I'll have some time for the queries. This vowel cluster is ow and as in bower, coward, flower, tower, hours, vowel. You don't have the R. The spelling says R, there's no R there. So, and it's also a bunch of vowels, one after the other. Your pronunciation should hold that. Player, again, three vowels. Grower, three vowels. Employer, I and three vowels. There are some places through English where there are four vowel sounds, again, a vowel cluster kind of a thing. In words like I am, I aim, come together. Go out, O and ow, four vowel sounds. My own, I and O. Gray-eyed, A and I. So you have consonant clusters. Sometimes consonant clusters are there at the beginning of the word, end of the word, middle of the word. Sometimes you have vowel clusters, which we have to focus on if you have to improve our pronunciation. Okay, now here are some things that we also have to keep in mind, that these particular sounds on the slide that you see, p, b, k, g, and t, d. If I take the example of a Telugu speaker, we don't have a p and we don't have a p. In English, all of these sounds are aspirated. So there is an extra breath of air behind these sounds. It's a pen, it's a bin, it's a king or a gun, right? It's T, din. All of these sounds, as per the native speaker of English, as in RP that we call as the correct pronunciation, is all of these have a little breath of air on them. Aspiration is what we call, that's the technical term. These sounds have to be aspirated. P, B, K, G, T, and D. The second thing that we have to focus on is the rolling of the R. We have a very popular meme, right? Rolling of the R. Kinda padi dorlala namata, somebody usually says that. That's the right pronunciation, where R has to roll. It's a rabbit, it's a parade, it's a coal, it's a restaurant, and it's rare. It's not R, it's R. You have to roll the R for the correct pronunciation. We speak it any which way we want. People understand. I think the job is met, but we need to know what's the right pronunciation. Whether we choose it or not, whether we incorporate it in our language or not, yet we need to know what's the right pronunciation. Hence, we have this
excuse me, ma'am.
lecture. Yes.
Ma'am, you're not audible, ma'am. I think the option. Yes, not audible still. Yes, ma'am, it's audible now.
Now?
Yeah, ma'am, it's audible now.
Great. Thank you.
Okay.
Then the distinction between sir and z, which we have discussed, I'll not repeat that. The distinction between ver and were, as in wind. Wherever there's a W, ensure that the round-mouthed V is pronounced. Wherever there is a V, ensure that you use the labiodental teeth and lip, V and V. If you learn this distinction, certain amount of accuracy seeps into your pronunciation. Now, interesting is the words that are ending in ED. There is a whole set of rules that we need to follow on. Two words, if before the ED, if the ending, if the suffix is ED, the letter before the ED, if it's a T and a D, then the pronunciation is id. It's wanted, needed, id. Right? But then, if before the suffix you either have a p, k, sh, ch, g, th, s, and c and x, this ending is pronounced with a pronounced t sound. For example, HELPED, it's helped with a t, in spite of the spelling that you see as an ED, as in looked, washed, watched, laughed, breathed, kissed, danced, fixed. All of these places you will find that word ending as a, you hear it as a t, you also have to pronounce it as t. Likewise, you also have all of these list of alphabets where the ending sound comes as d, called, cleaned, offered, damaged, loved, used, followed, enjoyed, amazed. So in one context, it's id. In one context, the sound goes as t. In one context, it goes as d. And if you are focusing on your pronunciation, we need to know where what sound should be used. We also have a set of, how do we understand the vowel sounds? Some of them are short vowels, have to be pronouncedly used with a short sound. There are some long vowels which have to be dragged. That kind of a distinction also helps when we are learning to pronounce. Look at the words on the top. One word stands for each symbol. Pan, appeal, the first sound. The focus is on the first sound. Pull, pen, pin, pong, pup. All of them are very short, crisp. The long vowels are a little elongated. Play, plea, ply, plow, pool, paul, player, part, perk, pause, pair, poor. All of these are lengthy. That's another way of remembering which are the short vowels and which are the long vowels. There are lots of jokes there, but then I don't want to bring on the mocking version of pronunciation. I want to focus on the corrective version of pronunciation, how we can focus, understand, and learn. We also have the habit of unnecessarily stressing on spellings in words which have double letters. We assume that because APPLICATIONS, we have to say applications or attributions or irregularities, right? The spelling pronunciation gap applies here too, irrespective of the number of repetitions. It's still applications, attributions, irregularity, eccentricity, illumination, and hippopotamus. Remember, you have to aspire the piece, add a little breeze to that. We're coming to the end. Few more slides, 3 or 4 slides. I think I'll finish it another 5 minutes and then we can take some queries. The word stress will also help in intelligibility, as one of your convener, I think, has talked to me about. It improves the intelligibility. It helps in bettering your communication. So there are certain rules. One word, one stress. And the stress always operates on the vowel. Those syllables, in front of the syllables, we mark the stress. The stress can be seen only on the vowel. And sometimes stress The word stress helps clarify the word in words like this: photograph, photographer, and photographic. Even if I don't hear it correctly, basing on the stress, I can make out what the word is. If the word is on the first in such a thing, I'm talking about the photograph. If the word is on the second syllable, the reference is to a photographer. The word is on the third syllable, then the reference is to whether the the material is photographic or not, etc., etc., etc. Now, some rules, too many rules, I know you can always refer to them, but then a quick reckoner kind of a thing. In disyllabic words, remember, di is two in words with two syllables. If the stress is on the first syllable, they act as nouns or adjectives. And if the stress is on the second syllable, it acts like a verb, action word. Nouns are names of places, things, First syllable, it's present. Now, if you give a gift, it's a present. Object, this object in front of me, it refers to a thing. Conduct certificate, that you acquire from your college. Dessert, the sweet that you eat at the end of a meal. Refuse is all the garbage that's left. With respect, right? Respect as an individual's respect as an adjective. Concert is a music concert. Now just shift the syllable onto the stress onto the second syllable, the meaning changes. The item was presented to the guest. Presented becomes a verb. He objected to my comments, a verb. He conducted himself well, verb. The cadet was deserted, verb. He refused to take part, verb. With respect to, verb. He concerted with his enemies, verb. So where you place the accent changes the word. So accent, I believe, is part of the pronunciation effort. We have to understand how the accent works. Here are some rules which I will right now skip, but I'll share this presentation to, and the organizers can share it to the participants for you to quickly refer. Yes, there are some rules when it comes to word pronunciation. There is an interesting poem that I thought I should share with you. Let me just share. Give me just a second. Kindly confirm with me if you can see this Word document that I've pulled up on the screen.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, we can see.
Great. This is a 1922 poem by Gerard North's Trinity. This talks about around 800 unique spelling and pronunciation variations through English. It's meant as a kind of a teaching plan to teach his students, which is very interesting and which can help us understand the differences in pronunciation, same spelling but different pronunciations. It's very interesting. Let me just read to you the first. I'll also share this to the organizer, and you can